so much for joining me today. Today I am going to be doing a review and demo on this incredible product, which is the Cover FX Custom Drop. So what this foundation is, really quickly, I know lots of people have already seen reviews about this, but it is just pure pigment, which means there's no real base to it. It's not a foundation, it's not a tinted moisturizer, it's not a BB cream, because it's just pure color. So your job is to mix this with a product that you already use to make it work for you. The shade range is insane. They've got 24, either 24 or 27 different colors in P, which is pink undertones, N, which is neutral undertones, and G, which is golden undertones. So the color range being that way, there's something for everybody. I use the color N70, and I think this is just incredible. It's $44. This is 0.5 fluid ounces, which is half the size of normal foundations, but trust me, when you guys see in the demo, when you mix a couple drops of this, I say drop, it is literally a tiny, teeny little drop. So you are going to have this forever. This is an awesome time-saving product, especially for, I feel like, older women who don't really prioritize their foundation and, like, you know, don't really leave the house with foundation on. So this way you can just mix it into your moisturizer and be done and, you know, not have to really worry about it. And for me, I was really interested in trying this product, but I thought it would be a complete flop because I've always felt like if you mix a product with your existing, you know, tinted moisturizer, serum, whatever, it kind of stops that product from working. Because I've always noticed that, you guys know I use the MAC SPF 50 primer. I've always noticed that if I don't let this sit on my skin for a couple minutes before applying whatever on top of it, I don't really get any oil control out of it, which is why I use this. Also, the same thing goes for any other primer and my skincare as well. If I don't let each product soak in for a couple minutes, I don't get the result that I want. So due to that, I was really unsure about how this would perform because you are kind of changing the chemical properties in your product because you're mixing a whole other product with it. But let me tell you, it works really, really well. So I have tried this out with a bunch of different products. I'm going to walk you through each one really quick. So I use the color N70, which, if you guys can compare this to my skin, this is a neutral undertone, which is perfect because I really like neutral undertone foundations in general. I definitely don't ever go for pink tone foundations, and I can go for warm tone foundations, meaning like yellow based things, but I don't really like love that on my skin. I prefer neutral. And if I'm looking kind of gray right now, I think it's because of this blue shirt. I feel like whenever I wear blue on camera, I'm looking slightly gray. I'm actually gonna go change my shirt so you guys can see what this really looks like. Okay, I'm back and I hope that I don't look quite so gray. I also just applied this and I really believe in foundation setting in for like 30 minutes to an hour before you can really judge what it really looks like on the skin. I also really love that it is so tiny and it's a really functional bottle, so it's a really good size for travel, and the dropper is really good. It doesn't just dispense product, you know, into your hand without you really needing it. Also, a lot of people are going to think that you can just apply this directly to your face. I guess you can. I've seen Kathleen Lights do it. However, I would not recommend this because it doesn't have anything else in it. It's just color. So I think that would be really bad for your skin, one. And two, it's just pure color, so you are going to get a very thick coverage. I also really like the fact that it does not oxidize on my skin, which I think is awesome. I would go one shade darker than you are used to ever wearing in foundations because when you are mixing it with other products, you are going to sort of make it a tiny, tiny bit lighter. So due to that, I would normally have gone for N6, but I chose N7, and that tends to work out really well. I think it's a little bit darker than I'm used to, but I always notice that after 30 minutes of wearing it, it just becomes the most gorgeous, gorgeous color ever. So the first day I tried this out with my Nars foundation in Syracuse. So the reason for why I did that is because this is a little bit too light for me. So I figured by mixing it with something that's my real skin color, I could make this work, and it worked really, really well. This is very high coverage. This is also, I mean, it's pure pigment, so it is very high coverage as well. And it's buildable. If you mix just one drop of this with any other product, you're going to get very light coverage. 2 drops, a little bit higher, you can go up to 4. I've never even done 4. The most I've ever done is 3, and even then, like, it's really, really, really high coverage. So with this foundation, it did neutralize it. It made it absolutely perfect. It made it my skin color, so I really enjoyed that. And I also got very good oil control out of it. So I did have my normal primer on underneath it, which is the MAC SPF 50, but this foundation by itself lasts on me about 5 to 6 hours without a primer, without looking really oily. And with these, with both the products together, it lasted about 6 to 7. so I got a little bit more wear out of it. Then my second way in which I tried this is with my moisturizer, which is the way that I like the most. This is by Glossier, and what I really like about this is that when you get a tinted moisturizer or you buy, you know, something of that nature, or a BB cream, you don't really have any control over the base of the product. You don't really have control over the moisturizer that you are being given in that tinted moisturizer. So with this, I got to use what I already use on my face, which is this, along with this right here, and I loved it. That's actually the demo that I'm going to be showing you guys, which is what it looks like here. What I really like is that when you apply this normally, it can look a little bit shiny, which is usually what moisturizers do. But as you guys can see, there's really not very much shine on my skin after this, but there's a little bit of a healthy glow going on that I can see towards the center of my skin, which looked really good. I just used my normal amount that I normally would. You never have to add more product because this, again, like just by putting in a color, you're not taking away product from here. So just how much ever you normally would use of your skincare along with this. And I do 2 drops of this with this, which is what I'm wearing right here. And I love the coverage that gives me. I do go through and powder though. I tried it the third way with the MAC SPF 50. I did feel like it took away a little bit of that oil control that I really like so much with this primer, which is what I figured it would do. But the way it looked was awesome. I did notice this is an SPF, so it has the tendency to sort of look gray. And I noticed that at first when I applied it, it sort of looked a little bit darker. But towards the end of the night, I think I wore this for over 10 or 11 hours. And the color that my skin had become was just perfect. So I loved how that looked, and it didn't oxidize, which was really great. And for wearing it for that long and not really looking crazy oily was a huge accomplishment. I really liked that together. Then I tried it on with my Nars Tinted Moisturizer. This is in the color Cuba. This is a really great color for me, but I feel like sometimes it can just look a little bit too brown, like a brownish sort of grayish color. I think it's a little too dark, and by mixing it with this, this is my exact same skin color and it has a really good undertone to it. It just made it the perfect combo. I did notice with this too that when I first applied it, it did look a little bit too dark for me. But again, as time went on, my skin just looked like the perfect color. So I really, really enjoyed that. Lastly, also with all of these different ways, I do always powder my skin. I can't not powder it, but it still lasted really well. Then lastly, I used it with the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer. This is the smoothing primer, and I did not like it. This primer is just, it's not that I didn't like the way it looked fine, but I didn't like the way it lasted on my skin, so I think it's because of the primer. Also, if you do use it with this primer, you will notice that your skin starts to look really, really dry at first, which I was freaking out. I didn't want to look like an old lady. And as I would say in about 30 minutes or so, it became really, really pretty. Like, it looked really nice, but this has 0 oil control properties, so this and this together, I got only maybe like 4 hours of wear out of it. So overall, I was really impressed by the amount of oil control this gives you. It's a demi matte finish, so it's not dewy, it's not, you know, like super matte. It's a really, really, really good finish, I think, for everybody. My mom is really dry skinned, and she's been using this with her Olay moisturizer, and she's been loving it and looks so good on her. So this is an insanely amazing product. It just cuts down so many steps from your routine. And even for people like me who have 1,000 steps in my routine, this was a pretty cool product because I can sort of, you know, use it to revive products that no longer work for me anymore, color-wise, and make it the exact color that I like. You can also build your coverage, which is really nice because a lot of foundations, if they are heavy coverage, they're heavy coverage and you can't really do much about it. So I'm obsessed with this. $44 available at Sephora and CoverFX.com. If you guys want to see my demo, then please go ahead and keep watching. I'm starting with my Glossier moisturizer. This is what I'm going to be mixing it in with. You want to make sure you really shake the bottle well. And I'm going to be dropping in 3 drops. I tried for 2.5, but that didn't really work out, so I'm going with 3. And as you guys can see, each drop is tiny, so this little bottle is going to last a very long time. And also, it is so, so pigmented, as you guys can see when I'm mixing it in right now. It's super, super, super pigmented. So I'm just taking what's on my finger, rubbing that into my skin. The key here is that you want to treat this just like you would your skincare. So like a moisturizer, I would, you know, really rub it into my skin. That's what I'm doing, the exact same thing, even though this has, you know, a tint to it, because you really want it to get in, you know, like a moisturizer would. And the same thing goes for if you're doing it with a serum or a tinted moisturizer or whatever it is that you want to use this with. I also notice that when I'm using this with a primer, a moisturizer, or a tinted moisturizer, I prefer my fingers. When I'm mixing it with a foundation, I prefer a beauty blender. and that's just what I have found that works really, really well for me. I'm also taking what's left in my hand. As you guys can see, I used up that whole amount, and I'm pulling that down onto my neck, and this is what the finished product looks like. I went ahead and put on the rest of my makeup so you guys can see how this looks. I feel like it's super, super full coverage. I did not go over with any concealer either. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any comments or questions, definitely post down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!